All right, I want to do a real quick video because this is hilarious to me. But if you haven't seen it yet, Elon has been feuding with Trump in an escalating fashion, and it's kind of reached a crescendo right now with Elon basically coming out and saying that the reason why the Epstein Files haven't been released yet is because Trump is directly implicated within them. Which, to me, I just kind of assumed that we all already knew this. Obviously, it wasn't called out precisely, but to me, this is not surprising at all. This is right up there with us realizing that Biden is too old to run. It's that Trump is a horn dog and that he has been implicated in this all along. And I never thought that the Epstein Files would come to light until many, many years later, not just because of Trump. I mean, obviously, him being the president is going to aid in that not happening. But there are a ton of people that I think are implicated in this, not to mention like Bill Gates or Bill Clinton, or from both sides. You know, it's basically people from both sides of the aisle. So the fact that these will ever come out in my lifetime, I think is not going to happen because, you know, who at that level wants to be implicated of having relations with minors? Probably not too many of them. But the things that were not surprising to me at all about this was, number one, that Donald Trump was in the flight logs at least 7 different times for Jeffrey Epstein's private jet. There are videos of Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump hanging out, including one where he came to Mar-a-Lago and they were partying with a bunch of cheerleaders, and you know, your mind can roam from there. But a real quick video if you haven't seen that yet.
Of a Mar-a-Lago party shows Trump giving Epstein his personal attention.
Donald! Donald! Donald!
The footage, shot in November of 1992, before Trump opened the resort as a club, shows the future president surrounded by cheerleaders for the Buffalo Bills and Miami Dolphins, capturing Trump's fun-loving bachelor lifestyle for an appearance on Faith Daniels' NBC talk show.
We're going to get great ratings in your show.
Trump is surrounded by women as music blares in the background. After a while, Trump goes to greet 3 new guests, among them the financier Jeffrey Epstein.
Come on in. Go inside.
More than a decade before his guilty plea on state prostitution charges. Later in the footage, Trump is seen talking to Epstein and another man as women are dancing in front of them. Trump alternates between dancing and pointing out women to Epstein and the other man and telling Epstein about the cameras. Though exactly what they say is difficult to understand as they discuss the women and their appearances, Trump gestures to one and appears to say to Epstein, "Look at her back there. She's hot." And then Trump says something else into Epstein's ear that makes him double over with laughter.
There was the Kash Patel and Dan Bongino hostage situation. Like, they literally looked like they were being held hostage and being forced to say that Jeffrey Epstein unalived himself. Yeah, that is kind of hilarious, especially looking back now with these accusations from Elon, and basically they were forced. I mean, it literally goes hand in hand. They were forced to say this. And if you haven't seen that video, it's right here.
You said Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. People don't believe it.
Well, I mean, listen, they have a right to their opinion, but as someone who has worked as a public defender, as a prosecutor, who's been in that prison system, who's been in the Metropolitan Detention Center, who's been in segregated housing, you know a suicide when you see one, and that's what that was.
He killed himself. You want me to? I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
So, of course, these 2 Donald Trump bootlickers who have been appointed by him are going to basically spin the same narrative that's going to be positive for him, right? That he wants out there. Then, of course, there's the grab him by the kitty comments, which he kind of, water off a duck's back didn't really affect him in the narrative. And I think, by itself, okay, whatever, it's guy locker room humor, like that doesn't really say a whole lot. However, in the broader context of everything else that we're reviewing, looks a little bit suspicious now. Again, it's points on a graph, and if you connect them, it kind of forms a line. There was the fact that he owned Miss Universe and Miss America, which he has admitted to sleeping with contestants from those two pageants. And then there was also Miss Teen USA. And if you remember, there was a lot of accusations that came out around this when it was initially released. And it was basically conflating these two. It was him talking about actually walking around and getting to see, the Miss Universe and the Miss America getting ready. But then it was falsely attributed to him talking about Miss Teen USA and seeing underage girls doing that. However, he did also own that property and was in charge of it and was accused of walking around while there were, at least by one contestant, while there were people changing. So he was accused of it. Whether it was factually accurate or not, would it be surprising if he did do it? It wouldn't surprise me at this point in time, especially given all the other information that you have built up. But again, just all these things that are just factually true at this point in time, it's surprising to me that anyone was really surprised about this. It's definitely not right. It's a heinous situation, but again, this is not news to anyone. But it is good. What I will say is it is good, and I think it will put pressure on him that Elon is confronting him and on X very publicly, so that it will put pressure on this to come out. Because again, I think all these people, anyone who's implicated in that, is absolutely disgusting. I think they all should be prosecuted to the highest extent of the law. Anyone who is especially knowingly, when anyone who is still hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein after the first time he was arrested and charged and all that kind of stuff, anyone who's hanging out with him afterwards, who includes Trump and Bill Gates and Clinton, all these people should absolutely have to answer for what they did, and I think the truth needs to come out. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Is there anything that I had missed? If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. And if you've made it this far, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.